Have you ever wondered why Master Xehanort was allowed and in fact greeted to the land of departure to watch Terra and Aqua's performance during their Mark of Mastery exam? Well, there's a huge secret lore that explains and puts a lot of context into the reasoning of Master Eraqus and why he'd allow, let alone invite, this self-proclaimed brother that revealed his dark ambitions to tip the balance and scales between a light and darkness many years ago to the land of departure, a world that literally holds the balance of the Kingdom Hearts universe together in its very fragile ways. For these answers, we must jump around the mini games and look towards a couple of reports and vague cutscenes, but we're going to start with the Kingdom Hearts Recoded cutscene that was added back in 2014. Square Enix found it appropriate to add a new cutscene to the story that took place between the time Mickey had wrapped up things with Data Sora and Naminé and before the very start of the events of Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. That's right, we're visiting a regular on the channel, the conversation between young Xehanort and Braig, but pay more attention to Xehanort's words about the Keyblade Master Xehanort possesses.
Lord Xemnas is nowhere to be seen, so that means the party's already begun, huh?
Yes.
Man, does that Xehanort scare me like nobody's business. The way he can see into minds. And it doesn't help that no one knows what it is that the old man wants. I wonder if even you know what's going on inside your own head.
I will be led wherever it is I am destined to go.
Sounds to me like you don't have a clue of your own.
Every Keyblade Master is bequeathed a Keyblade of his very own. With the passing of time, as you can imagine, more and more Keyblades were forged to be handed down. But of all the Keyblades in existence, Master Xehanort's is the most ancient. That is my destiny. But it has yet to become a reality.
So to break down what young Xehanort says in further analysis, every Keyblade wielder is bequeathed a key of their very own. We learned sometime earlier or later that the Master of Masters possessed the ability to forge Keyblades by reaching into the hearts of the key's intended wielder and pulling them out, granting them shape and form. So what you will need to keep in mind is that what he's saying is that Keyblade wielders are given keys of their very own. When people ask how Riku got his key and how Kairi got her Keyblade, I usually assumed it was through this same process, as Nomura has said before that Riku had pulled the key out of her and given it to her, bequeathing her with the key of her very own, and we can confirm this is the intended context in the next line. When young Xehanort says, with the passing of time, as you can imagine, more and more Keyblades were forged to be handed down, and we can come to our biggest bit of information around these two closing lines. But of all the Keyblades in existence, Master Xehanort's is the most ancient, and that is my destiny, but it has yet to become a reality. And see, that's just it. This information is very vague, and it only points out the importance of Master Xehanort's key, but it plays into the topic today because of these two parts. Every Keyblade wielder is bequeathed a Keyblade of their very own, and that is my destiny. Which, as you may remember, the Master of Masters explicitly tells Luxu that no name is to be passed from master to apprentice so that his eye may continuously see the future, feeding information into the book of prophecies. I'm going to leave this point here though and move along, but remember those two lines as we go deeper into this rabbit hole, because the twist at the end is more than worth the wait. In Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, as I'm sure you remember, there were the Xehanort reports, but the letter is what we're going to be focusing on because, as explained by Xehanort, Eraqus was chosen to be responsible for bringing up a successor, but had rather raised two pupils, similar to he and Eraqus' past when they were younglings. With Eraqus being a master by the time Master Xehanort had met Eraqus, of course, this would be the whole thing about him being dedicated to the light that was allowed or kind of made him the true successor to the land of departure when their master was ready to relinquish his, of course, role or his control over the land of departure. And in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, the glossary has an entry on Keyblade Masters that once again tells us about the bequeathing of Keyblades, emphasizing the word bequeathing. It goes to tell us that once again, that among all the named masters, one is chosen to be the successor of the land of departure. But this leaves the question still, why is the no name docked in the E3 2015 trailer, and why Eraqus allowed Xehanort into this very important land if we establish he knew his ambitions? Why would he allow Master Xehanort back into a world where he could literally bring his ambitions to fruition a lot sooner, or it could help him bring his plans to fruition? So why would Eraqus do this if he's a character who's completely dedicated to, of course, the light? That's because Terra and Aqua were meant to be given the Master Defender and No Name, respectively. You see, the land of departure is always meant to be home to two pupils and its true successor. This is because the new true successor and new master tasked to possess the No Name are brought up and strengthened here in heart, body, and mind. And this is evident in the series, although never explicitly stated or said. We know that there are no coincidences and destiny is not left to chance in Kingdom Hearts, but the two Keyblades do still wind up in the hands of Terra and Aqua, just not under the predetermined or traditional ways that it should have happened. See, at the end of Birth by Sleep, we know Aqua returns to the land of departure and obtains the Master Defender and seals her home away, telling us indirectly that Aqua was going to be named the true successor. But it's even more cunning with Terra's succession of No Name, as he obtains the Keyblade through the assimilation of Master Xehanort, who we know does not have full control over Terra's body, but rather shares control after the Lingering Will had defeated him at the end of Terra's story. So, to rephrase everything that I just said, essentially, the Masters of the No Name and Master Defender are both set to be the kind of predecessors to a line of succession. So with them being the predecessors, the master of the land of departure and No Name is the one who is left to train two pupils to be given No Name and the Master Defender. This is something that I believe was set up by Luxu after his time of course, traveling the world and seeing things with the No Name that, as the Master of Masters, tasked him to do. And through that, of course, eventually he settled down in the land of departure, the world that sits in the very center of the Kingdom Hearts universe, and definitely has control over the sway between the forces of light and darkness. And with that, of course, he wound up finding Eraqus and Xehanort, with Eraqus being his first student and being trained in the ways of the light, and Xehanort, who was trained to pretty much have this more adventure kind of aspect to him. We know in the Xehanort reports as well that Xehanort does mention that at some point their master had tasked him with traversing the worlds. And you see, each Keyblade wielder is bequeathed a Keyblade of their very own. What he's saying is that each Keyblade wielder is given a Keyblade that comes from their heart, but at the same time too, they are destined to pretty much become successors to the two Keyblades, the Master Defender and No Name. So with Terra and Aqua being the newest pupils when it comes to Birth by Sleep and the pupils that we know of the land of departure, of course they were eventually going to be given No Name and the Master's Defender. It's kind of cool to know that, of course, even though it didn't wind up happening in a traditional way or the way that it was supposed to, through the kind of guise of Xehanort, it did still wind up happening or coming to fruition that Terra and Aqua still wound up becoming these two possessors of these two very important Keyblades, as the No Name and Master Defender share these very huge roles, with No Name being the protector of pretty much the whole universe, or the forces in the universe, the light and darkness, and of course No Name being the Keyblade of the most ancient variety. It's the oldest Keyblade to ever be created by the Master of Masters himself, to be given to Luxu, and of course to be passed down to his pupils. And this once again just ties into the whole idea that the Master of Masters simply had to be the master of Xehanort and Eraqus, because for it to be docked and for the Land of Departure to become this huge world in the Kingdom Hearts series and in the Kingdom Hearts lore, this would mean that for it to be docked, he couldn't have had other pupils, because there would have been someone there to have no name, but rather he became the master of the Land of Departure, taking up, of course, the Master's Defender, and relinquishing control of No Name, which Xehanort was eventually given control over, as Eraqus, as we know from the Xehanort reports once again, was named the master of the Land of Departure. And what was supposed to happen was Aqua was supposed to become, of course, the master after Eraqus, and Terra was supposed to become the master of No Name after Master Xehanort. And through that reasoning, of course, Eraqus had no choice but to invite his brother, Master Xehanort, to the Land of Departure to watch as his two pupils proved themselves worthy of becoming true masters and becoming the two successors of the two Keyblades. It's a very interesting piece of lore, and I haven't seen anybody talk about it, but at the same time too, I guess you could say the reasoning for this is because it's hidden through pieces, like it's bits and pieces that kind of explains it to us. And at the same time too, the E3 2015 trailer itself also plays into this, because it shows No Name docked. And that was the first time we had seen Kingdom Hearts 3 after, of course, I think it was 2014 when they revealed like the little scene that didn't have any true like cutscenes or anything like that, but it was rather just the voices of young Xehanort and young Eraqus having the conversation about the Master's favorite story, which was the story of the Keyblade War, the Lost Masters and things like that. It was, of course, a very vague scene, but when we got the scene in a true cutscene form, it ended with, of course, young Xehanort looking up to the Master Defender, which was docked. So that would mean that it didn't have a possessor at the time. You know, there was no master of the No Name, but there was there had to have been a master of the Master Defender, as we know that, of course, someone is always supposed to be the successor, or someone is supposed to always be the true successor of the master of the Land of Departure. So definitely, this stuff that is inside of Kingdom Hearts and built into the lore is something that I feel like Tetsuya Nomura could have made a brilliant story with. Imagine the game Birth by Sleep, instead of it just opening and we know that they're going to take, of course, the Mark of Mastery exam, something that we've heard of before because we know Mickey is a master. Imagine, of course, being able to like have a story, or if the story was more so about these two Keyblade wielders and Ventus, of course, being their friend. Imagine the story was more so about them trying to become like the true successor to the Land of Departure, and of course Aqua and Terra wanting to become the true successor, but whoever isn't chosen to be the true successor becomes the master of No Name. You see what I'm saying? Like, that would have been cool, and it would have like more so fleshed out what they wanted to be, and it would have set like a precedent for the competition between them, because we know that there was some kind of rivalry, but we didn't know why the rivalry was there. Now, of course, you guys as fans know something that I've known for a while, and that was that they were trying to compete to become the true successor of the Land of Departure. So thank you guys for tuning into the video. Of course, this is the Kingdom Hearts 3 video for the week. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it reveals something new and exciting about the Kingdom Hearts series to you. I'm gonna go ahead and catch you guys in the next one. This is being boy Amaziah. Don't forget to do a little A-class gaming, and everything you do, don't forget to keep it A-class. Don't forget to join me for next week's Year of Kingdom Hearts 3 video, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Peace the heck out.